Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. We talk a lot about going inside of ourselves and what that experience is when we go deep inside and what that feels like, and to be in touch with that inner self. We call that Antar, the Antar, the innermost understanding of ourselves, and finding that Antar, that place within us, that exists, that true core understanding of our truth and our reality. When we're not in touch with that truth or reality within ourselves, then we live in a duality. It's very simple, because we're always covering for what we're doing, what our actions are. In a spiritual life, we understand that Antar, that going within one's own self, is a realization that that is most innermost place that we go, that gives us that peace of mind, santok, that contentment, that understanding. And without it, what happens is we lose touch. That's why mostly we live in a duality. We live in a duality when we're not feeling that inside of ourselves, that core elementary aspect of who we are. And that's called the living truth. So my belief is that every one of us has a living truth. That living truth, that Antar, that living truth is what's inside, that we know inside of ourselves what is our reality, what is our truth, and who we are, and what the essence of ourselves are. And understanding what is that concept of self. If we don't know that inner self, then what self do we know? When we don't know the inner self or connect with that or live the truth of it, then we'll always live in that duality. That duality means that there's a division between what we feel and how we act, what we say and what we do. There'll always be an imbalance within us. And the key of a spiritual life and a meditative life is that life where we are in touch with that part of ourselves. That we understand that that is my truth, that is my reality, that is my living. That is the essence of the identity of who I am. And today we need that spiritual identity more than anything else. So the spiritual identity of the self is to understand the inner self, the innermost understanding of that. And of that who created us, who is the Antarajami, who is that which knows the inner self, who knows the innermost of all that exists within. When we understand that and live by that truth, then life moves forward. That's when the doors open. That's when we experience the graciousness, the kirpa, the goodness, the graciousness of that who created this creation, to allow that to work for us so that we walk clearly on that path of our Dharma. Then that Dharmic path becomes effortless. Dharmic path means that I live that truth. I live that path of my righteousness, my Dharma, the path of my righteousness, to experience all the joys, all the love, all the gifts, all the goodness, all the greatness, which is already destined to be there for me. When that's understood, then there goes what? There goes the fear. There goes the anxiety that we sometimes feel. That anxiety takes away that value of our life, and the quality of our living is taken from us when we live with anxiety. When we live with an unhappiness, when we live where the nervous system is always on edge, I'm always on edge, and then everything just becomes a reaction in life. And that's when we say things but we don't do them, when there's not a connection between what we say and what we do. There's not a connection of that commitment that I've made to myself to be my living truth. I believe that everything starts with commitment. It is through commitment that everything, in my feeling, in my personal experience, that through commitment everything unfolds. And to allow it to unfold naturally for you, and not chase after what you think you need. That's a difference we call manmuk and we call gurumuk. A manmuk means one who just lives by the mind. Gurumuk is one that lives by the righteousness of the truth of their innermost being. And that's a choice that we make. Do we live as manmuk or do we live as gurumuk? As Gurumukh, we understand the path of our Dharma and we live that path, or we move towards that path, or we continue to practice to enhance that path. And that path is enhanced through our spiritual devotion, through the harmony of self. But when we live as a Manmukh, as we live thinking just that our mind is going to control everything and our mind can do everything and my mind can outthink everything, what happens? We end up with what? Headaches. There'll always be a headache. That motion will always come commotion. That commotion will always become a trauma. That trauma will become a drama. Drama and trauma lead to what? They lead to a disaster in our lives. That's the cycle of that karma. As Manmukh, we live that cycle of karma. never finding where that releases, where that stops, where that ends, where we move from that. So that cycle continues. And then we wonder why we're not receiving, why some things are going, some things aren't going, we're getting stuck in this, the mind is caught in that. Whenever there's a duality, you won't find the totality of the self. And without that totality, to strive for that totality, sure, it's something we have to work for, it's something we come through our practice, helps through our meditation, through our process, our spiritual devotion. That's the opportunity that we have to walk that path. And at least to understand how we're walking that path. And it starts from coming from what's inside, from the core elementary self of you, which is we call your living truth. My belief is that every single person knows their inner truth. But the question is, do you live that inner truth? Or do you keep compensating for that inner truth? To receive something, to gain something, to try to compromise to something, giving up who you are, and what your identity is, and what the standards that you live by are. A dharmic path is a path of standards. It's a path of criteria. It's a path of inner knowledge. It's a path of self-healing. It's a path where we're taking that step to understand that what I do on the inside has to match and coordinate and be with what I do on the outside. That's the only thing about it. Are we matching that? That's the question we ask. It's a question I ask. Am I matching what is going on in the inside of me, which is what is going on the outside of me? Is there a balance there? Am I honest to that? Am I holding the truth of that within me? Or am I compensating for that? Not living what that inner truth is, and then finding what is the obstacle in my path. Because many come to me and they say, well, Babaji, how can this path open for me? How can I find that path open? The reality is path is already open for you. It's not I have to find that path, I have to find that opening, I have to find that portal. Portals already exist for you. Path already is there for you. Path is at your feet. Path comes from many existences of lifetimes that brings you to this lifetime so that you don't have to repeat that cycle again. That cycle can end. You can become liberated while you're alive and not have to repeat that cycle of birth and death. We say in our teachings that there's 8.4 lakh, 84 million lifetimes that we've lived, half on the water, half on this planet, half on the earth, that we've come through that stage. So many, many millions of lifetimes that we've had, that we connect to in different planes and activities and frequencies that we can feel, experience from different sides, different angles. Each of us has angles, and we have those attributes. Because life is a triangle and life is an angle of living. And everything is in that triangle of life, is all in a triangle. And the angles of that triangle are the angles where you exist and live and how you move forward and how you become productive in life and how you maintain life. As a spiritual person walking a spiritual path through the Antarjami, through that which is the inner known most of you, we call Antarjami. That inner knower who knows everything is you, is not outside of you. You are Antarjami, is called, we say. But you are you are the inner knower of the self. The universe evolves through that, through each of us, to understand that. The understanding is, who am I, where am I going, and how do I get there? And as soon as you let go of asking the how and no, I'm already there. Mind says, well, you're not there, this is happening, that's happening. No, it's not true. You're already where you are. As you open your heart, your soul, your Atma connects to that, mind connects to the Atma, to the soul. And my experience is every portal is open, everything is open, path is already written. That's my destiny, that's the destination that I'll reach. How you reach that destination is your choice. We all have a choice of how we want to reach that destination. That destiny. Destiny is the destination already preordained that you should walk. Why conflict with it? That's when we get caught in Maya, into the illusion of life, and we conflict with that destiny. That confliction and that destiny creates a bumpy road. That bumpy road takes us away from our true path. We lose that understanding of what is the inner truth within myself, and then we start doing those things that don't serve, and then we get trapped in that, and then we fall into the negative patterns. And those negative patterns will never serve your future. If anyone's stuck in their negative mind will never move 1 inch with you in your future, understand. Anyone who's stuck in their negative mind can't move an inch into your future. But we also have to understand that our electromagnetic field has to be very strong so that we don't absorb that and we understand it. That gives us the patience of life. Patience pays. That patience comes because I say to myself, I'm where I need to be. That my devotion and my personal devoted practice takes me to that place that gives me that command of my own self, that I can understand that all that I need is there to be given to me, and I walk the path of that as best I can. Given all the different influences that we have, different all the energies that come through to us, different all those that are around us, different than those entities that we feel sometimes, all those kinds of different things, all the vibrations. Because we are a vibrational life force. Guru Nanak Dev Ji taught that everything is music. Everything is a harmony. Everything in life is a harmony. We are harmonic people. We live by the vibration of sound current. And sound current vibrates within us. Every chakra has a sound to it. La, 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 ha, ma, ma. Every sound vibration vibrates through us. In Gurmukhi, every sound of that alphabet, of that language, is a tonal language. There's 108 elements of the universe, and each of those sound vibrations relate to those 108 elements which exist within us, that vibrate through us, that open us, expand us, give an experience of what is consciousness and conscious awareness. And to understand ourselves as vibratory beings, we vibrate, we have electromagnetic fields that are contained in that sound, that music, that vibration that vibrates through us, that when this tongue hits the palate and it starts to move, and that vibration that affects the brain and the brain itself and the nervous system and the nerve understanding of all of that within us and all our organs and everything, including that what we call DNA, is all adjusted, is all shifted through sound. It's all a vibration. And we become that living vibration. Spiritual path, spiritual practice is there to help you maintain your harmonic vibration. Every meditation you do, every breath of fire, every pump of the navel point, every breath that you take, everything you surround with is to remind you that you are a living vibration. That vibrates in this planet, in this atmospheric balance of this planet, but vibrates to the entire universe, to every solar system. This isn't the only solar system. We vibrate to every solar system. Every solar system, everything is understood. Everything is felt within. And when we can understand ourselves within that and relax within that understanding, that's when, as you've heard me say many times, we know the unknown, we hear the unheard, we speak the unspoken, is there for us to understand. To know the unknown, to see the unseen, to hear the unheard. All of that aspect, to speak the unspoken, is all there for us to receive. Every gift, every siddhi, every gift that has been given to us is embedded within us. And each of us has individual siddhis, has individual gifts that are given to us to understand. So let us embrace those gifts, let us take them deep within. Expand yourself through that. Don't let yourself down, and never let anybody else down. That's the mantra of this age. To not let yourself down, and not to let another person down. This is an understanding. To be who you are. I am that which is complete. Path is already there. Walk the path is your understanding, is your feeling, is your perception, is the knowledge that you have. And through that, self-healing will always happen, is my experience. But I too have to remind myself, I fall into those pits. We are who we are, we're not a robot. I fall into those pits, but I come out of that pit. Sometimes we go into it, but we have to come out of it. Get into it, feel it, understand it, but what? Get out of it. Move from it. Like that pothole in the road that you drive sometimes, and there's that hole that they call pothole in that road. And the tire goes in, you go into that pothole, but what happens? You come out of it. It's the same with thinking, it's the same with action, it's the same with activity. Feel it, understand it, move through it, and release yourself from it, and let go and come out of it, and keep moving. Keep moving forward. What happened yesterday happened yesterday. I don't have the power to change what I did yesterday to what happened yesterday, but I know that what my today is, and if I set my today, then I'm going to know what my tomorrow is. Because every today is your tomorrow. Every day, today at this moment, is what exists for you in your tomorrow. Don't bring sorrow to it. Don't bring sorrow to that tomorrow. Bring your light, your jyot. Bring that which is the life force of every human. That life force is that innermost self of ours that gives us that energy through the navel point, through the third chakra, through all that, through the balance of all these energy centers. To experience nirvana, to experience everything, to experience Prabhupati, to experience the vastness of what is the creation and all that exists. So let us live in that, let's trust in that, and let that carry us forward into tomorrow. Because our prayers for peace and tolerance and acceptance, kindness, compassion are so important to protect the equal rights, the freedoms for every person, for all people, and to help raise the consciousness of humanity in this difficult age that we can bring and renew an age to come to that Sat Yuga again, the age of truth. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.